Hi, my name's Juliet and today I'm talking about using tables in your eBook in Scrivener 3 for Windows. I have a book with a very simple table in it that I've avoided putting into eBook format so far because the display wouldn't work. But Scrivener 3 does have a table format that works in eBooks, so I thought I'd give it a go. First, let's go through how to create a table. At the top of the Insert menu you'll find Table. Click on that and you get a standard 3 columns and 2 rows appearing in your document, and the table properties pop up to change those defaults if you want. You can also change border widths, and you get the opportunity to have cell background shading. I haven't tested the latter. Down the bottom you have cell width set at an equal percentage for each column. This is the only way it works. You cannot set individual widths. To change format after you've created a table, just right-click on the table and you can access the table option again, or go into the Format menu for table formatting options. Just adjust the number of columns and click Apply. You'll get a warning message first. You also have a few options for adding and deleting columns in specific places. You can merge 2 cells together and split them apart afterwards again, if you want, but you don't seem to be able to split an unmerged cell. You also cannot put tabs into the cells. In fact, the table cells don't appear at all on the ruler, so that formatting option isn't available either. If you have a table with figures, I think you're probably going to have to use an image rather than creating a table within Scrivener. Okay, so this is a representation of the kind of table I was trying to format. It is very simple. It's just a list of sets of 3 words. A table is the only way to display this information in a comprehensible way for readers to understand. There couldn't be much go wrong with that, could there? Well, yes. Why? Because tables have some very specific formats that you don't seem to be able to change. Let's look at how this table compiles. First, tables adjust to the width of the information in the columns when compiled. This I get because that will be how they need to work for an eBook, so everything can be resized on the e-reader. I don't have a problem with that. eBooks aren't paper books. We cannot expect them to work the same way. Second, information in tables can only be left aligned. I tried many options in my original document to get the text centered, just because that looks better. Using preserved formatting, using an as-is format. Basically nothing worked. The table always came back left aligned. This to me would seem like a reasonable thing to be able to change, but maybe the programming for eBooks doesn't allow it. Third, there is an assumption that every table has a first row title, which mine doesn't. It's purely for easy display purposes. You can, in the Customised section Layout formats in Compile, change the format for titles, but you can't change them to plain. I can't believe this option would be difficult to implement, but it isn't there. I had to leave the standard setting, which is bold, and make all the text in the table bold in the editor, so that it looked reasonable. I imagine if you had more complex titles over multiple rows, this would be how you could get around this formatting issue. Now, let's look at a longer table, because my original table is 100 rows. On the Kindle Previewer, this works okay, without splitting it. In the normal display, it just splits the table between pages, and if it's too big for the page, and you click on the little arrow, you can scroll up and down, which is fine for my purposes. However, that's the Kindle version and I can test it. I've decided not to put my eBook elsewhere, though, because I have no idea how it will display in the many and various e-reader formats throughout the world. I suspect it wouldn't end well, especially with library apps. So that's my journey into tables in eBooks so far. I just wish there were a couple more simple formatting options. Thanks for watching, and if you've subscribed, I'll see you again next time.